What's up, guys? Nepenthez here, and welcome back to another FUTBIN podcast. Was easy this morning. Today, I am joined once again by Richard Buckley and MattFUTTrading to talk about the brand new update from EA Sports and the deep dive they gave us for Ultimate Team. But before we get into that, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast again, lads. Rich, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you, mate. Different setting for today. I'm actually in a hotel in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia, for the FC Pro World Championship. So instead of a mindset is everything display behind us, we've got an iron and two single beds.
Very, very nice. I did notice this morning when we jumped on that you was in a nice bright area, and so is Matt, and I'm still here in my office. I can't tell whether it's night or day when I'm in my office. So, Matt, how you doing?
I'm very well, mate. Yeah, not quite as exotic as Saudi Arabia, but no, we're here. Third time in a row, so you know I'm looking for another. Was it Naby Keita performance? A solid 7, 8 out of 10. So yeah, no, it's good to be here and a lot to discuss on the Ultimate Team deep dive.
We have, and Rich is going to lead us today through what we're going to talk about. But let us know in the comments your top 3 takeaways from the deep dive. What are you the most excited about? And I think we will start with that for us as well before Rich takes us away with the actual content. What are your best 3 things, Rich, from the patch notes that you said that you haven't really read because you was on a flight?
Yeah, I've had a little look, an extended look, and I think the big things for me, I think the Gauntlet is very interesting, and I think as someone who enjoyed draft and also enjoys the competitive side of it, going for that 5 out of 5 wins each week and seeing how scaled the rewards are is going to be super interesting. I think the second thing as well, the fact that the live events are unlocked behind objectives gives them a lot of interest. Like going into like there's been a long time speculation of like we want to have more recognition on how good we are or what we're doing. Like getting rank 1 in champs might unlock you an objective that then puts you into a real like elite group of players that can only play in this certain friendly type and can only play in this one tournament, and the tournament then they can scale the rewards on huge levels. And I loved like do you remember the Inform Honda tournament way
very
back
first
in the day?
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant,
like,
wasn't it?
That sort of stuff just like excites me, like having things that not everyone else has. And I think doing that behind friendlies, like with the mic on, and then we had other players, like it always felt strange, and I think they've redeveloped that in a really nice way. And I'll say finally probably the goalkeeper evos. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? And,
it has. I do think people are going to be like significantly underwhelmed when it gets to it, though, because what can you do with a goalkeeper? Really?
I just want to put a shell. I just want to put a different shell on my goalkeeper. Just give me a FUT birthday shell on my Team Nia Emi Martinez that I was using for about 350 games. Just give me something different.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What about yourself, Matt?
Well, is it bad? I say Gauntlet as well. Not so much from the gameplay angle. I'm looking at it more from sort of like a club building perspective. I think Jamie put out a really good post this morning and saying that it's really going to put an emphasis on not just having one sort of super meta mega team, but also having a club of players to rely on. You've got 5 games, you can't use the same players from one game to the next, so you're going to need at least 3, 4, maybe 5 squads if you're going to be really competing at that top level. So I like the idea that those players that you get in rewards, they don't fit in your first team, they might fit into a second team, a third team, fourth team, fifth team. Evos now become really, really useful for the guys that want to run maybe some more past and present style and not just use the Rafael Leao's and Teo Hernandez's every time. So I think, Gauntlet definitely from a club building perspective. Evos, we've got to talk about those repeatable Evos. Seems like they are putting a lot more emphasis on Evos. They already have. It was already the main sort of thing for the last year or so. So great that we put more emphasis on that. And then goalkeeper Evos. I'm a Charlton fan. I run my Charlton Evos, and it's been tricky having to run a 64 rated bronze in goal. So
for the lowest rated RTG as well, we obviously had to go for icon goalkeepers in the end because we couldn't upgrade that bronze player. But one of the comments I had in the video today when talking about the Gauntlet was a guy saying my 3 Teo Hernandezes are going to go down really well. And I thought, oh god, people are already like, you're going to have like whatever the base gold card is that overpowered. As soon as they get that first special card, people are going to start just building multiple versions of the same squad, aren't they? Through Evos and through because imagine you could get like a Hernandez, a Teo Hernandez, and put like, you know, a badge on him. And then you could get a second Teo Hernandez, and they're both the same, but you can effectively run them both. But the thing that I'm just going to go for one before we get into the nuts and bolts of today. But the thing that I'm most ready for is the objectives in Rivals, those checkpoint objectives. Because I remember back in the day when, I mean, Rich, sometimes we would even be, I think, in calls and whatnot, where I just used to sit there grinding Rivals, or as it was then, seasons. You didn't get anything apart from like the 7k coins if you finished halfway through the division, or the 15k if you won Division 1. But just actually playing the game and feeling like you was getting those kind of like incremental micro rewards constantly was really good. Now it's like a race to get the points, and then, oh, thank God I've done it. But if I don't know if the screenshots are anything to go by really, but it looks like you only need 15 points to get your top rewards in Rivals now. And like the irony of that is I can see myself playing for a longer period of time, because I'm going to want to keep picking up those little rewards for scoring a goal in the first half and stuff, and, you know, sitting there and actually grinding it out and feeling like I'm getting something in return, rather than, oh, I hit my points tally 7 games ago, what have I earned from this?
I also think the checkpoints, it's the bounties, should I say, the incremental bonuses, it's super interesting as well, because I imagine, fingers crossed, they'll keep on top of that, and they'll add new ones in all the time. New bounties in, score the last goal in a game, score a hat-trick before half-time, or just things like that, and that is very interesting. I think the 3 big talking points, the 3 pillars of this deep dive were the tournaments and the gauntlet that comes underneath the tournaments and the live events, the Evos and the updates to the game and disconnects and all that sort of stuff, which we'll talk about, and then also Champs and Rivals getting a decent, I would say, amount of refresh, with challengers coming in as well, and the differences in that, and our thoughts on all of that. We'll start with the tournaments. I think that is the big thing. We were talking on the first episode of this pod, and we were saying there's not really a huge announcement that they've come out with and said, like, this is the thing for this year. Usually there's a sort of a linchpin of everything that is underneath it. It feels like there's a lot of medium to small changes that are hopefully going to make a more refined experience. With the tournaments, is it as simple as saying this is the daily knockout tournament that once was just coming back, or is it a little bit deeper than that, in your opinion, Nep?
I think tournaments are going to be huge, like absolutely huge. I think for the older player base, not in terms of age like me, but just in terms of people that have been around for a long time, it's the nostalgic DKT. But I think when we talked about that Honda card, that was from the Gold tournament before Champs and whatnot ever existed, right? And I think EA have an insane opportunity to reward people for just playing a bit of more casual mode casually and gaining rewards. Like, you know, drafts is kind of like akin to the tournaments in a way of like, you don't, it's never really that sweaty draft. Like, even if you're a bad player, you can still kind of sneak into the second or third round, maybe the final consistently, because you're not matching like insanely like sweaty players on your level every time. And I think the tournaments will give people a place to kind of like genuinely feel like they can express themselves and go and like build a fun team, like similar to Gauntlet where you have to build different teams, but in tournaments building a fun team or trying a new tactic and maybe getting rewarded for it. And that EA can do that great thing that they have done a few times, and specifically with something like that Honda, is they can give exclusive rewards in a tournament, whether it be an Evo shell or a player or, you know, maybe a pack to boost you. But like I do think the whole cosmetic side of things and the kind of like exclusivity side of things is what people really like to show off. Like, oh, hey, look at this, you know, look at this skin that I got from playing the pre-order tournament. Nobody else has that. Now you've got it on a player for the rest of the game. I think things like that are important, and I think tournaments can really like drive that.
Do you think there's a balancing point between, because I know what we're saying about tournaments, yeah, we liked them previously because they weren't sort of like the super hardcore, you know, rivals, champs for the best rewards. Do you think there's an element, though, for tournaments to be successful, that they need to have the good rewards to sort of get people into that mode? I think that's one of the issues that we've had with draft, isn't it? Is that they haven't been the premium rewards. people don't really pay attention, so it's easier and feels more casual. So what's that point of it needs to feel casual but still needs to be rewarding enough to get people in?
I'll tell you where it will come from, and like maybe I'm kind of like overstating the importance of content creators and the influence they have, but it will come from how influencers engage with rewards that might not be premium. Like if everybody's sitting there going, "Oh, I'm not playing for like 215k packs, this is terrible," that just trickles down the community, and people get that same feeling, and nobody goes and plays it, and you know it kind of loses its edge. But if people get like just pumped about the fact that, hey, there's a new tournament out, let's just go and play it and see what we get. You know, it's not like now that, you know, Rivals is going to be a lot easier to finish. Now that Champs has kind of changed a little bit, there's no qualifiers anymore. There's going to be more time on the game to kind of play these other areas. So as long as like it's, you know, as long as the content creators do have positive engagement with it, I think it will go down well. But it is on EA as well to still keep it interesting, because there are things that they can give out that are valuable without being market changing, like skins, like evos, even like match coins. You know, like win the final, get yourself like, I don't know, a mega pack untradeable and 10,000 or 1,000 match coins over 10 games, like things like that, where it's like you feel rewarded, even though it's not going to be like oh my god, I've just changed my entire team thanks to this tournament.
I'm trying to think back to the World Cup mode, 2014, 2018. For winning that, was it 30k, 35k in that ballpark? And that was just straight coins. I can't see them giving straight coins out. It feels like they'll go down packs, evos, and that level of rewards. They might even give us a choice of reward potentially. It might be similar to Rivals rewards, where they go, you can take coins, you can take packs, you can take something else. If the tournaments are good, would you be happy in FC 27? Because the one bit of not negative feedback, not even online, but like from my circle of friends that I speak to on Discord and whatnot, people are saying with tournaments coming in, with Gauntlet coming in, with these different modes, there's too many things on Ultimate Team, there's too many modes. Do you think if tournaments is good, would you be happy for draft, for example, to get taken out?
Right, two things. First of all, never remove draft, right?
Okay.
Improve draft, never remove draft. Secondly, when we're talking about 2-minute modes, hands up who thought moments would be gone. How the hell is that still in the game? Who's playing moments? Like, there's things that they can take out, right? Like, for sure. Is there too much in the game? We can't sit here and ask them for providing more things for a hardcore player base and then have them provide it and then be like, oh my gosh, this is too much. Like, you either want that kind of like end game grind or you don't. And if you don't, you can just play squad battles, Rivals and Champs. And if you do, you've got gauntlets and tournaments and whatever the other objectives will be, and you've got drafts. So I don't think there's too much, personally. I think I think they control what you do too much. That's where I think people want the freedom to play. And one of the big takeaways I got from the deep dive from my community was that if you can only do one tournament a day or one tournament a week, what's the point in that? Like, people actually want to sit there and do something repeatable over and over again, and you can't do that with Champs and you can't do that with Rivals, or maybe you can now with the bounties. But yeah, I think people want that draft, like that draft ability to just keep going in, and if you're good and keep winning, then you're good and keep winning. And I don't think EA should kind of like curtail that. Like, I think they should try and find a way to remedy that there are some people that are just kind of so good that they will be able to farm more than your average, rather than hurting everyone across the board because of that group of people. Find a different way to like kind of encourage that group of people to do something else, or find a way to give them things where it doesn't really keep improving them.
I just asked the questions. The very best players, Matt, will be looking towards Gauntlet as an avenue for their competitive edge. Basically, try and explain Gauntlet if you've not seen it, and if I miss anything, more than welcome to jump in. You're going to get 5 games where you have to use a different set of players in the 11 and bench in every single match. So you can't use the same player in each game. It has to be 5 unique squads, 5 unique teams. And even if you lose a match, it's not like draft where you'll get eliminated from the Gauntlet. you have got the ability to play all 5 matches, regardless of wins and losses, and then you'll get rewarded on your amount of wins out of the 5. Matt, I'll come to you. When Gauntlet was teased, when we heard a little bit about it, there were a lot of speculation. Do you like this approach, 5 out of 5 games? Do you like the unique squad building aspects of it? And what are your overall thoughts on this new mode?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to test the way that people run their clubs, as we alluded to earlier. I think they also put in the deep dive at the first Gauntlet that will be released will be featuring 3 rounds, requiring 3 unique squads and running every 2 weeks to start. So that's what we've sort of got to go off. So I think, yeah, for me, I think it's fantastic. You know, I used to be one of those guys that used to make sort of like the first owner Prem squad, Bundesliga squad, La Liga squad, and have sort of a club collection book style approach. So I think that definitely is geared more towards that in the long term. Yeah, I just love that it's going to kind of challenge the status quo of having to only run one team. You know, you're not going to be able to do that now.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you'll be able to play that unlimited amount of times over the course of the 2 weeks. So it's a one-time. You've got 2 weeks to play it once.
On the screenshot, I believe there was like 2 entries. So
yeah,
like maybe you will be able to. Maybe they'll up the amount of entries. But
okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of. I think Jamie alluded to it. They're going to be testing a lot. So I think we'll see a lot of tests with regards to the frequency of it, how many times you can replay it, requirements, all of that. I think is sort of up for grabs. So it's quite difficult for us to talk about it when there's sort of not much nailed on. But it's also quite exciting. I think that we're going to have a new evolving mode.
We saw some tweets just before I get your opinion on it, Nep, that came out just last night as of recording from Foot Economist. Seeing some confusion around the Gauntlet mode, so I want to clear a few things up. I saw folks discussing how it could get awkward depending on what squad requirements we set up for each Gauntlet in case people are locked out of playing it if they can't afford different teams and whatnot. He said, our vision for Gauntlet, the place where you can be rewarded for building and upgrading multiple squads of your choosing. That means that most Gauntlets will have open squad requirements, aka EA won't tell you need to run a full French squad to complete in a specific Gauntlet. In an open Gauntlet like that, the only rule is this: players used in previous rounds can't be used in later rounds. The idea of this creates a space to have the fun squads that you will build but never use, past and present squads, full Evo squads, first owner, etc. There are already modes that reward you for optimising the best squad possible, rivals, champs. Gauntlets are designed to reward you for club death while you maintain a 2nd, 3rd, 4th and even 5th squad. It's about giving your players a longer, more meaningful life cycle, and then he does continue on. That's what we want, really, isn't it, Nep?
It is, but it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be talking about something if I couldn't find a way to complain. So here we go, right? And this is something that FUTBIN as well need to be on top of ASAP, I think, personally. Sorry to give you more work, Matt. It's all well and good creating a game mode and kind of really nuancing this game towards building squads and depth. It's another thing entirely to allow people to kind of easily visualize their squads and their depth. And it's so clunky right now to actually build a team. Like, think about like how many menus have to go through, how you have to keep clicking like into your squad, like, and then you're like, oh, have I used this player already in a different squad that I built? I don't even know. They need to give us a way, almost like a sandbox way, of just looking at all of our teams, clicking into a tile that shows that team, close the tile back down, let me see the next team. Because you're going to build a squad, you're going to play that first Gauntlet game, then you're going to start building a second squad, and you're going to be like, I don't remember who the bloody hell I've just had on the bench or who I've used, and it's just going to become a bit difficult. And I think with squad building and with like the amount of game modes we've got now, and this is again something that I really think I would like to push for FUTBIN, otherwise I'm just going to have to create my own spreadsheet for. I want to like track every Gauntlet I play, what I finished, what teams I used, what rewards I got, so that I can look back historically and be like, this is what I obtained over Gauntlet for the year. This is what I obtained over tournaments for the year. These are all my champs finishes for the whole year. And I want a place that I can very easily have a glance, be like, oh my god, like this is the 3rd time I've actually got all 5 wins in the Gauntlet. The way that EA have listened to a lot of community feedback, and I do think we appreciate it, and I think they are building into a good game. But a lot of people, at least for me personally, maybe I don't speak for everyone, I love the kind of lore of a club. I love the history, the data. I want to see everything I've done with everyone, and I think if that's missing, that's where people get really connected to the game, and it's one of the reasons why I used to love playing the game. You know, when I'd get like Jobson's silver card to 1,000 goals, and you used to have that on the front of your, like, the first menu was like your top scorers in your club, and it was just it was so small, and you didn't notice it until it went. But it was like powerful, it was impactful. Oh, I've got 978 goals on him. Like, let's go and play a few games and like try and rack those goals up. So I think I like the way they've got the Gauntlet to encourage squad building. I am, however, incredibly nervous that people do just find ways to manipulate, like putting a skin on a player and having multiple versions of the same player.
Yeah, I plan on as soon as that Inform Mbappe gets released, going and buying him, because that's my second player. I've got Golden Mbappe, and then I've got Inform Mbappe for the second squad, and then the one to watch Isak, as well as the noble Isak. I'm cooking. And then
Evo'd Isak behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's my three. FC Pro badge. Bang. There we go. I'm sure they've already thought of that, and I'm sure there will be, hopefully, some sort of workaround for it. I think a lot of the Gauntlet, the tournaments, and even the live events, which we are going to talk about as well, where you can, instead of friendlies pretty much, from what I can gather, gone completely. Live foot friendlies for FC26. They'll be now behind the live events, which will be obtained to be able to play through objectives. It feels, I know we mentioned it at the very top, very Evo heavy, and I think a lot of these modes are going to be, if you are completing Evos and you've got a good squad, a large squad, you'll benefit from everything. Do you see them with the live events, Matt? There's a lot of creativity there that they could do and could have with that new sort of iteration of friendlies.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think, you know, I think the reason behind it is, you know, think back to the Mycon League, Maldini League, like those were so well received by the community. So just think that we'll get more of those styles of events. So I think it's really, really promising. I think you made a really good point there, Rich, as well, with regards to the evolution side of things. EA are really pushing it hard with the repeatable Evos. You're going to have a lot more games now where you'll be needing to complete those Evo objectives. So you almost do need, you know, another mode to sort of filter that into. You know, Rivals is less points, Champs, you know, no playoffs now. So I think, yeah, you will see a lot more live events, Gauntlet style modes where, yeah, you can take those Evos in as well to get that progression. So yeah, I think it sounds really, really good, and I'm hoping that we get, again, a lot more variety in those friendly tournaments. You know, I think they're going to mention that there might be some like mystery ball style things, golden goal, like all those sort of fan favourites that we've asked for. They'll be in the format.
A lot of people, Nep, also complain about friendlies, saying a lot of time it was too competitive and too hard, and I suppose now having to be able to play in those via objectives, does it enable people to more happily say, I'm going to miss out on that? Whereas like the Mycon thing, because everyone could play it and everyone had a chance, and then people didn't get Mycon, they felt like they were really, really missing out. Do you think they're trying to curtail that a little bit?
I don't think the entry requirements will be significant to get into like the next thing, because it would just set a bad precedent for any casual playing the game. So I think they'll be like quite loose, and you know, I think a lot of people will be able to get in. I think in terms of getting rid of live at friendlies, or sorry, like the friendlies mode for what we're going to have now, they talk about it in the deep dive about like the win form, and how certain events will be like a brand new win form, and certain events will carry on from like your global win form. Like, so, you know, if you've won 50 friendlies and lost 10, your win form's 40. So like a new one with a fresh win form, that's a lot better. You know, it's exciting. You could face like some demons, you could face some people with no thumbs, and just get a real good mix. But if you're already at a really high win form, you still know that you're going to go into that friendly mode, or like live foot friendly. It's still going to be semi-competitive, and I think that's what people's complaints were with the competitive nature. Is like it's one thing winning, let's say, 16 out of 20 games for that Maldini. It's another thing winning 16 out of 20 games against the best players that you could possibly play against, right? Like, So I personally wouldn't be surprised that they're carrying win form back into what they're doing here. But it's another one of those little things again for me where it's like, if they just showed you your win form, I would like, let me know. I want to understand a bit more about it. They're really like secretive about how much it goes up to, like how wide is the matchmaking. Like if I'm at +10 win form, am I matching people +5 to +15, or is it like +8 to +12? Like, so I think it's still going to be quite competitive if it's like, when we think about what you're actually going to be able to do in the game. Champs is weekend only again. Rivals is going to be getting your points and done. That area of the game is going to be where people are spending their time for the majority of the week. If it's super, super heavy competitive, and it does seem like they've tried to think about this, but if it's super heavy competitive again, the game is going to very quickly feel like a chore again, where you're like, oh my god, I've got to go and play it, rather than I want to go and play it, or I get to go and play it.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting on how they balance everything, from the tournaments to the gauntlets to the new friendlies. You mentioned players with no thumbs, so let's talk about challengers. Sorry.
Wow.
Something that I think a lot of people will have been asking for, who were unable to play in champs. Challengers is a secondary mode for people who are unable to play in champs, and it is certainly something that I think for a lot of players out there who play this game very casually, they will be thrilled that Challengers is coming in. I suppose the first question, it's difficult for me as someone who plays the game super competitively. Every element of the game, from Ultimate Team to Rivals to Pro Clubs, like all I want to do is win. That's like how I play the game. So the thought of like not being able to qualify for champs feels quite offside to me. Is this something in the game that was needed in Challengers?
Yeah, I actually think it's like really underestimated how much kind of like, not social anxiety, but kind of like people get anxious to play champs. I've got a friend in real life. He's a brilliant trader of the game. He plays in sort of like Division 7, Division 6, and he just refuses to go into FUT champs because he's just so paranoid that he's just going to have a horrible gaming experience that he doesn't bother to try at all. And when he read about challengers, he messaged and was like, mate, this is me. Because you're only going to, like, if you're in Division 6, let's say the cutoff is Division 6, if you're in Division 6, you're only playing people in your wheelhouse, right? Like, so you already experienced that level of competitiveness, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for those guys to kind of get that taste of playing a bit more of a competitive game, rewards on the line, and then thinking maybe I should push to Division 5 or Division 4 and try and get into the big one. And now that we've got the relegation checkpoints, if it's not working out, you can get back down there. And in the sense of actually relegating for the rewards, a lot of people are saying to me, what about people that are going to sandbag? I don't think people are going to sandbag into like Division 6 and 7 for lesser rewards in Rivals and getting the Challengers rewards and miss out on like the main rewards.
It's very interesting to say that, just to jump in. I imagine I could say this. If I can't say this, cut it out, but I imagine it's fine. I was speaking to someone and they said they know that people will do that. If you are good enough to play in champs, the rewards are that significantly worse in challengers that it's not worth doing. And that came directly from someone who said that. So the rewards in challengers, I think, are going to be bad compared to champs.
Yeah.
Even if you're getting the maximum amount of awards in challengers, if you can go into champs and get 6 wins, 7 wins, it will be astronomically better than what you can do in challengers. If that bit has to get cut out, I'll do a nice cut there. Matt, what are we thinking for challengers?
I think you're all good, Rich. I think Jamie mentioned it on the interview that he had with Nate a week or so back. So, but yeah, I think it's really, really good. I really, really do. You know, I think I can't remember what year it was, but there used to be an objective for like, on like the PlayStation objectives where you could. It was an objective for qualifying for champs, and it was a really, really low completion rate. I think it was like less
6%.
than. I think it was it was definitely less than 10%. So I think that kind of shows, like, for a lot of people actually how difficult it was to qualify through champs by getting your rivals qualification points, playing playoffs, etc. So I do like that this is a bit of a, an introductory champs offering. Yes, for the hardcore guys, you're probably never even going to play it unless maybe in that first one you haven't quite got into Div 5 yet. So I do think, for the top level guys that are already qualifying for champs, getting sort of 9, 10, 11 wins, this probably won't be for you, but it's not meant to be for you. So definitely excited to see what the rewards are. I think they said the FUT launch update pitch notes will clarify a lot more on the exact rivals division to qualify, as well as the reward structure. I think that's definitely the big question at the moment, isn't it? What are those challenger rewards?
It's classic EA though, isn't it? They're like, here's a deep dive, and the deep dive is like, we'll give you more information later on.
You just wait there.
Yeah. It's like, wait, hold on. This wasn't a deep dive. I've dived head first, and we're at the shallow end. I've cracked my skull open. I was expecting a bit more from the deep dive in rewards and stuff. I appreciate that they can't give the exact rewards now. They probably don't know them themselves. They're probably still like kind of weighing up what it will be. But I think challenges for a lot of the wider community, I think, will be good. There's like I am an older content creator in the space, and off the back of that, I get a lot of older people watching me, and there are a significant portion of my viewer base that are in their like late 40s, 50s that struggle, like generally speaking, and I sit there and I'm crying my eyes out because I'm taking an L in champs, and I get like maybe 10 wins, and then there's people in there going, whoa, that's incredible, like, I barely get like 3 wins or 4 wins, and I'm like, Jesus, you must be bad. And I'm like, then they're like, I'm like 60 years old, man. I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty legit. But for those sort of people, or maybe even for like way younger people, like my son, he's 7 years old, he can beat squad battles on semi-pro. Like, he can't really do much more than that. If he was playing in something like this, not that I want to introduce him to online gaming just yet, but if he was playing something like this for a younger person at like 9, 10, 11 that's still kind of like learning their hand-eye coordination and their kind of dexterity and stuff, this is a sort of mode where they won't just get slapped up every single game, and they can actually have a good time.
I think as well, on top of that, for the actual longevity of the cycle for that portion of the community, you're not going to have that experience where you go in, you lose 10-0, think, I can't compete, I'm not going to play it anymore.
Yeah.
Does this make champs an absolute sweatfest now?
Oh, yeah.
Every game's just going to be an absolute war, right?
Get the towels ready, boys.
Yeah, I noticed on the deep dive, or the shallow dive, they released the champs thing, and it wasn't rank. Like, every win now is a reward, which is great. I think that was much, much needed for years. But it wasn't rank 1 through 15. It was rank 5 through 1, 5 through 1, and 5 through 1. And I was watching Orzio talk about it, and he was like, "Oh, these rank 3 guys are like bragging about being rank 3, which is me." He's like, you're there getting 11 wins. That's going to be rank 5 now. So you're going to feel like, you've taken a big step down in quality. And it is going to be really fascinating to see these rank 1 guys maybe get rank 2 or rank 3 if they slip up, like, because it's going to be a big hit in the rewards. But yeah, I was interested if we're going potentially back to like the gold, silver, bronze structure, and you become like a silver 1 guy or a gold 3 guy.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? Like those sort of like segmented ranks of Elite 3, sort of that difference potentially between the 9 and 10 wins is
could be huge. Yeah,
rank 1, let's call it tier 2 compared to a rank 5 tier 1.
Yeah, the cliff face could be pretty significant. The one thing I will say as well, maybe I'm on my own with this, maybe it's just the degen in me. Now Champs Playoffs has gone, let's get more games of Champs in. Bring it back to 20. 15, if every game is a battle, I want more games to be able to get a better representation of where I am. Maybe I'm on my own with that, but in there, Champs Playoffs is gone.
I don't think you're on your own, Rich, and I don't think Champs Playoffs can be counted as gone or not. You needed 1 win the last few months in Champs Playoff.
Every week I played all 5 games because I had to go maximum points. it's just now you auto-qualified from your rival's position. Where do you think that will be, the Champs Challengers rivals swing point? Div 6?
Maybe not at the start, because it's going to take a while for people to kind of get up the divisions. I reckon it could even be like Division 8 or Division 7 for the first season or two. But yeah, I think when I play on like fresh accounts and do like themed and timed RTGs, for me the significant change in skill of where I feel people getting better is like Div 4 area. So I think I think Div 6 will be a good point, like long term of where that's at. But I actually think they'll go off of, like, they obviously have a bell curve of how many people are in each division. I think they'll kind of change it periodically based on where people are.
It could also be, it stays around sort of Div 6. And actually the live events, Gauntlet tournaments are where that sort of swing point comes in. Do we get a Div 2 tournament at some point?
I would love that.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole load of potential with the modes. And I think until we get hands-on and see them all in action together, and I would love to see them, as you said there, connecting and some sort of like interweaving, like, because you did this in this mode, you're now eligible for this, or because I played in the Elite Division in Season 1 of FC26, I'm locked out of Challengers for the rest of the year. Or like just things like that where it almost protects people as well. The final thing, not the final thing on this, but it's Rivals and Champs, the final thing on this topic, Rivals, the bounties, I know we spoke about it earlier, it's going to give incremental bonuses, so if you score the first goal in the game, if that's the bounty for both players will see it, it will be eligible for both players in the match. You'll get extra Rivals points. It feels as though they are certainly trying to make the Rivals less about just wins and losses, Nep, and more of an enjoyable experience. I think they've probably seen a lot of people getting on, getting the points, getting off, and they want people to play for longer. Yeah,
just to clarify as well, actually, its bounties are going to be significant just to you. Duels are going to be the one where it's going to try and pair you up with somebody that the first person to get it gets the reward. But I like the fact that you can like earn more points from a bounty, but also slightly defeats the purpose of playing the game. I like the fact that you now get double points if you're on a streak, and you move up double as well. And like I say, from the screenshot that I'm looking at, it suggests that 15 points is all you're going to need. And I think, I think EA are going to really see a less is more situation here, where, as I said at the start, I think people are just going to play Rivals more because there's something to play for beyond winning your rewards. And if more people are playing, it doesn't get funneled up to the top so quick to the point where it becomes like unenjoyably competitive. But because everybody's going to keep playing, everybody moves up, and so you keep that sort of like ability to play against people of a bit of a wider range, even within your own division. But I just remember those times. I think it was FIFA 15 or FIFA 16. Myself, Skills, and Bates was streaming. The brand new game came out, and Bates was like, "I'm going to play until I lose." And so Skills was like, "Yeah, I'll do it too." And I was like, "Okay, I'll join in as well." We went over 100 games of just wins and draws in the division system before I think I was the first one to lose. They're like, Skills is an insane player, obviously. I woke up the next morning, Bateson was still streaming because he hadn't lost a game. And what did he get for it? Just the enjoyment of winning and playing. Yeah. And I think like EA need that back, and I think they focused on it a lot with the gameplay side of things. And as I said at the top of the podcast, like if I've got like a checkpoint ahead, or the game ahead, should I say, and there's a bounty on there, all right, then I'll play for it. Let's go and see what it is. And even if it's only like, I don't know, an 82 by 3 or something, what do I have to do for that? Score 2 goals in the first half? All right, all out. Let's set up a team. We're going 3-5-2. Let's go all out attack for that first half. Let me try and get this small little pack, and it creates value for just playing the game, which has been missing for a long time.
Just on that as well, I think you mentioned the pack reward there. It's good that we touch on that. So the rewards will be ranging from Rivals points, Champs qualification points, coins, packs. One that I like the most, Season XP.
Yeah, love that. Yeah,
love that you can get that from playing matches, and even Rivals stage skips. So imagine there's a jewel there or a special bounty, skip the next stage, or right at the end of Div 1 pushing an elite, and then you have to score a goal in the first half. That's the sort of stuff that's really going to change the game play from game to game, isn't it?
It will change the game from like the daily play for sure, but it will change content. Like it will now be exciting. Like I'm going to go in to watch my favorite content creators, and they're going to be under a bit of pressure. Like, guys, I have to score this, or I have to score the last goal. Could you imagine that? Like, imagine trying to be like last goal wins. Like that's pretty intense, because you could be 3-0 down. Yeah. And your opponent's like, I've got the last goal now. Like, I'm calm, and you're like, I need that last goal, and it means something all of a sudden. So yeah, I think it's really exciting, and the XP thing as well. I noticed in the screenshot it was 100,000 for the season, and I think that's because you're going to be able to obtain it through playing rivals. I don't know if it will be 100,000 when the game comes out or not, but it's going to be really fun to watch. Like #house, for example. All of the guys in the house, all on brand new accounts for the start of the season, who can get that XP first by grinding rivals. Who's going to be the champion? Who's going to be that division, that kind of XP champion? And the amount of content that can be made, the amount of that can be enjoyed and consumed, that isn't just, oh, did you get 15-0? What rank did you get? Are you in elite division? But how many bounties have you won today? What did you get from them? Like how did it influence what you've done? And if you can move up the XP pass as well from it, it's going to be, again, it's going to be fun for like, oh guys, I'm as a content creator going to sit here and grind rivals to unlock the player at level 10 to let you guys know, like, is it worth it? Like, should you be like sweating it out for this, or is it just another player? Like, it's a brilliant feature from EA. And like I say, I think rivals has got really bad rep over the last few years, deservedly, because it's been a chore to play. But this feels like they've got it right. It feels like it's just going to be engaging to play for the sake of playing, and that has been missing for years.
It's changing rivals without changing rivals.
Yeah.
And I think that's really big. As a guilty season pass buyer and never completer, being able to earn rewards, being able to earn XP just through rivals sounds fantastic to me. Let's talk about some of the changes that came towards the back end of the deep dive as well, with a huge one with the disconnects. They've been working this out, I want to say, for a while now. I know that there's been a lot of conversation about this, and we sort of saw, was it in the winter refresh this year, or maybe a little bit afterwards, then bring in, if your opponent quits in the second, there was a huge, your opponent's got to quit while doing a handstand in the second half while he's having his dinner, and he'd then get the win. It feels like they've changed it very simply now. If you are drawing in the second half, still in the second half, which was interesting, but they've got a red card or a penalty, as well as you'll get the win. Only a good thing, right?
Go on, Matt.
Absolutely,
only a good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been, unfortunately, on the receiving end of the quits in the past. I also accidentally trod on the power cable once. Unfortunately, it was against a French streamer, and I got a lot of French people in my DMs saying very nasty things. Yeah, no, it's positive, isn't it? I mean, it eliminates that frustration of not getting the win. All good.
I can only imagine, Nep, that this has taken months and years of trying to figure out how to do it.
It was actually interesting to listen to the way Jamie spoke about it with Nate, like Foot Accountant, because he said, like, Nate's chat was like asking for more from it, and I think we should get more from it. And I think this is where I think EA are doing such a good job with their communication, because he was able to explain it in a way where it's like, from our perspective, we can't just go 0 to 100 because people will manipulate it. We need to like kind of slowly introduce the things that we want to do. He was like, we know where the end goal is, we know what you want, and we want to get there too, but we have to take it in stages. And obviously, as you said, Rich, in FC25, they introduced that in the second half, if they've got a red card or if you've got a penalty, if they pause it and go and forfeit match, you get the win. This year, for FC26, it's going to be any kind of disconnect. You're going to get the win under those circumstances. The thing that I think needs to be improved upon is, even from like as soon as you go into the game screen and you've matched up with your opponent and you see their team and they've seen your team, if at that point your opponent presses pause and goes down and presses forfeit match, you should get the win. It's different to the cheaters because they force that disconnect and you just kind of like disappear from the game. But for the people that like quit out because they've either seen your team and don't want to face somebody so sweaty, or because they, you know, have already got the amount of wins that they want and they're just trying to throw the rest of the games, you should be rewarded for that. You matched up with that. Like if somebody literally clicks forfeit match, you have forfeited. Therefore, I have won. Right? So I'm hopeful that they will continue to iterate on it in this year and improve upon it this year and give us, a little few updates this year. But it is nice that they are finally doing something about it, because it is one of those things, and it feels like this year they're doing a lot of one of those things that should have been done a long time ago. But it is one of those things that should have been done a long time ago. No,
absolutely. And I think the forfeit match comment is just perfect, isn't it? Like, yeah. I'm going to forfeit the match, but you're not getting the win. Yeah. I've just given the loss.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Evos to sort of round us out here before we got onto a little bit of a Arsenal chat with Nep. Matt, I'll come to you. Evos, it seems, again, like we're levelling up after I want to say, if you were to give the Evos on FC25 a rating out of 10 on the whole year of Evos, I think a 5 or a 6 is probably where I would land, personally.
Yeah, I was going to be generous and say a 7. But, I think... Yeah, I wouldn't go higher than that, for sure. I think it's going to be... There's definitely room for improvement, let's put it that way.
And that's what we've got in FC26. Repeatable Evos, cosmetic stacking, goalkeeper Evos. If you pre-order, you get the extra Evo slot right off the get-go as well. There's a lot to be excited about, Nep, as an avid Evo enjoyer and player yourself.
Yeah, I love the idea of Evos, right? I don't necessarily love Evos. I think, like EA, again, it's balance, right? EA do a lot of things right with Evos, but they don't do a lot of things with Evos. And I think something I've been calling for the back end of this game cycle now, where we're getting Evos that are taking, players up to 96 rated and 97 rated. And it's like, have you seen people's teams? Like these Evos aren't getting into people's teams, even if you're doing like pass and presence and stuff. They're not really worth it. I want to see more small incremental changes that I can apply to players to fix the problems that they have. Like, especially when we're talking about now having to need multiple squads and stuff. I don't want to be playing with, like, I don't know, a Gabriel Jesus one game that's got really good base shooting, and then Kai Havertz the next game that, can't score from 6-yard box. Like, I want to be able to just give me a +2 finishing. That's it. Not even shooting, just finishing. Just +2 finishing, +2 attack positioning. Let me, like, slowly, incrementally build my players up, the players that I want, the way that I want, so that when I'm playing a game, I feel like I've built a team I can play with. And I know that when I spoke about this with somebody that knows somebody that said something, much like your story there, Rich. No, I spoke to a friend that knows EA staff very well, EA employees very well, and it kind of went up and down the chain that one of the things that is potentially a worry is that if they make Evos too good, people won't go to the store to buy packs, because you could just make your Evo players into the best players that are there. Now that we're going to but get to use multiple squads in things like tournaments and Gauntlet and such, there's surely less of a worry there now to allow me to kind of build who I want as an Evo player, because I'm going to need more than that player. And so I'm hopeful this upcoming year that Evos will be a little bit looser in how we're able to develop the players, because all we're going to see otherwise, again, is people going to the status quo players, the OP players, finding out the most overpowered chains, and everyone's going to end up with the same huddling again as always. Yeah. And it's for me, it defeats the purpose. And I know there is a big community of people that do have the pass and presence or start with the low-rated teams. My editor Josh, he's got the Wang gang, so everyone in the team's called Wang, and he just Evos all of them up. And it's there's some fun in Evos, but you see very quickly that his Wang gang just can't, the power curve's up here, the Wang gang are down here, and it's you need to, I'm not saying that they need to be on a par, but you need to allow us to close that gap a little bit to the point where we're having fun with it.
Is it that it needs to be like that, or it just needs to be expanded? And
Yeah,
that's what we're hoping Gauntlet does. And I think I don't want to go too much onto Power Code. That's a whole nother topic. But we need Gauntlet to be good to expand that offering of players. If it's Gauntlet and live tournaments don't really offer the rewards, people don't really engage with it too much. They're still only in the one squad rivals and champs. I think you will get to that issue of it will be the Rafael Leao's, Teo Hernandez.
Here's the other thing with Evo's, right? Like Rafael Leao, he'll have a sick base card, he'll get a sick promo card. Then let's say the meta changes, right? For whatever reason, maybe stats and playstyle pluses are changing, or maybe people have figured out a way to kind of like abuse a new game mechanic, or let's just say that EA have made like a patch and it's kind of like reduced the finesse shot efficiency and improved power shot efficiency. When that meta changes, Rafael Leao will just get another new promo card that fits the new meta. But if you've put like playstyles and playstyle pluses on your Evo cards that are good for the in that moment meta, and then the meta changes, all of your Evos become irrelevant, and you almost have to start again. And that's what I mean. Like the Evos are good. I think both of you were generous with your ratings. I would have put them down at like a 4 for this year, because like it's at that point in time right now where it's like I'm like capped out of adding low driven shot to some of my players, because at the start of the game cycle I put power shot on them, and now let me remove power shot so that I can add low driven shot. So I think there's still a lot of work to go with Evos. And because it's an area that I love a lot, I think I'm a lot harsher and a bit more like frustrated with the lack of what they are doing. The potential is incredible, but I just don't think they're giving exactly what people want with Evos.
Just on that as well, I think you made a really good point. Like I think the way that a casual player builds Evos is very different to how a more hardcore player like you or I build Evos. Like we know that, right, you have to start with the play styles first, because otherwise you're going to get that evolution that puts Anticipate on your striker, and then it's a wasted slot. So, but I don't think that's been really very well communicated by EA. They've got one My Evolution section, bam, all the big stat Evos, play styles kind of hidden in there. It's good that we've now got that sort of season pass mechanic where you're getting these individual playstyles, so you can be a little bit more selective. But as you say, you've still got that issue of I've started that guy back in October, put the playstyles on a meta at a time. I'm now in March, April. Meta's changed, patch has changed. What do I do?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if the what we're getting told is true, playstyles, they will matter, but it's all on the stats, isn't it? So I think
true.
If the stats are good, the player theoretically should be good. The playstyles will just make them better. Hopefully.
Yeah. Imagine on clubs though, Rich. Imagine you like went through, grinded to go up to level 100, put your playstyles on, playstyle pluses on, and then like for you to change your meta on clubs, you had to like start a new pro from scratch again. Like that for me, that's how it translates.
The thing with Evo is that I always thought would have worked better. I don't know if you've played like I mean, both of you have played clubs. You should be able, with an Evo player, in my opinion, you should be able to complete any Evo available that gives him a playstyle, and then you just click out and like select what playstyles you want if you've completed the Evo 1 the player. Very similar to clubs.
Yeah.
So, like, if you've got a centre back Evo, you can complete any of the defensive Evos that come out. Give him a playstyle, and then you can just select. Like, you are creating a player, you're creating an evolution of a player, so it should change and evolve throughout the game cycle. But it does feel like part of the reason I don't necessarily jump in on Evos as much as you two is I don't want to be locked to a player and then that player's useless when the meta changes. Like, at the start of the year, I did loads of Power Shot plus Evos, and then Power Shots got nerfed into the ground, and they were like, well, I'm just not going to use him. Like, they could they could just get stuck in the back of the club.
And this is what I was talking about before, about like the lore and the history of the club. I want to take my Arsenal gold cards, like the day one Arsenal cards, and I want to have thousands of games and thousands of goals on them. And I just can't do it. I tried it, like Gabriel Jesus, I gave that welcome to intro to Evos or whatever, where it gave Power Shot Plus and a nice little boost. And for about 2 weeks, I was like, he is going to be the man. Like, he's going to be so sick. And then something changed. And I'm like, he doesn't even get into my team just 2 weeks later now, after scoring countless goals for me, like power shots from 45 yards and stuff. And yeah, all of a sudden, and then I look back on him now, and I can't put him into an SBC. I dare not do it. But I look back at what he could have been, and I'm like, you just let me down. You just let me down.
It's scary how similar the experiences are that we've had, because I was the same. I had the plan of, I'm going to get all the Charlton cards first owner, make them Evos, and I had a first owner Connor Coventry, 500-600 games. I put him in the one wrong Evo, and then another one came out like 3 weeks later, and I had to just discard him and put him in the new one. And it's like, horrible feeling.
It's tough.
If you can relate, let us know in the comments. But
oh, that's why you just don't bother like me.
maybe.
I want to finish. Last week we had Nate on, the foot accountant, and we did a little 5 players Tottenham Hotspur prediction. So, Nep, as the gaffer, you got the captain's armband on. We're going to come to you again this week. Arsenal, I'm going to give you 5 players. Give me a rating that you think they should be on what you think they will be in FC 26. We're going to start with the new man first.
Yep.
Gyökeres.
Okay.
So we did him last week.
I think he should be an 87, based on just being the top scorer in the world. What a guy, by the way. I think he probably will be still an 84.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we said last week 86.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just think, like, if we're talking about, like, EA kind of holding the power curve, it's a really easy get out of jail free card, isn't it? He's transferred from a lesser league to a bigger league, a lesser club. I say that, like, don't want to offend any sporting fans, but a statistically smaller club or whatever for a bigger club. I think it's really easy to be like, keep him as an 84 and give him loads of promo cards.
We'll go next. Odegaard.
Based on his season, I think he probably should be maybe like an 87. And I think he will be the same rating. I think he'll still be an 89.
Wow. I think... Yeah, I don't know, actually. One that I do know, we'll go Saka.
Yeah. I don't think his rating will change because of his injury last season. Like, he was out for 3 months of the season. But I listen, I love Bukayo Saka. He's getting up there with like Thierry Henry and Ian Wright as an all-time fan favourite. I genuinely think he should be just one rating lower than whatever Mohamed Salah is. So if Salah's a 91, I think he should be a 90. If Salah's a 90, I think he should be an 89.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, best midfielder in the world. What rating is he now? He's 87 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm a bit bullish because of Arsenal fan or whatever, but I think he should be an 89 for Rice. I think he will be an 87 still. I don't know, after those Real Madrid free kicks, maybe that's enough height to give
88.
him... Yeah, maybe that's enough to get him up to an 88, but...
What was Rodri this year?
91.
91?
Yeah.
So Rodri will come down because he's injured for the entire year. I think 1 or 2 in the periphery from Rodri. So if Rodri's 19... There's a world he could be 89, really. I mean, Kimmich was 89 for a little while, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And then finally, we'll end with potentially the best centre-back in the world, Gabriel.
Thank God you said that, Rich. I swear to God, if you would have said Saliba, I would have lost my mind. I love Saliba, don't get me wrong, but Gabriel is underestimated across the board. I think Gabriel deserves genuinely 88, 89, and I know people are going to laugh at that, but when you see Marquinhos still rocking like an 87 or 88, Gabriel is, even in the Brazilian setup, Gabriel is like worlds above. And I think if it wasn't for Odegaard already being our captain, maybe Rice would be our captain, but I think Gabriel deserves the captain's armband. Like, he's been with us since we were a terrible team, and he has grown as a player and with the team. And I think he is the best defender in the world. He's not the best player. Like, I think Saliba, it's really weird to explain, right? But I think Saliba is a better player than Gabriel. He's smoother on the ball. He's faster. He can get out of sticky situations a bit more. But in terms of just that raw defence, when you think about the classics, like the Tony Adams, the Martin Keowns, Gabriel just loves defending, and I think he's the best in the world at it.
I agree, actually. I think he's right up there. I would probably give him similar, whatever Ruben Dias is, I think Gabriel is the same rating.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
They're very similar. I think Van Dijk will be the highest rated centre-back in the Prem, but I think Dias and Gabriel are on par for me. I think Saliba's probably a rating less.
Yeah.
but he'll probably be a superior item to both of them.
Yeah, he will be, because he's faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know your thoughts down below.
Or don't, if you're just going to rinse me.
He's Nep on the money. I think that's us rounded up. I think that's everything on the Ultimate Team Deep Dive. Is there anything else you two want to quickly cover? I think you can take us home, Gaffer.
Yeah, no, I'm all good. I'm really excited for the new game. I think there's been a lot of years EA have given us a lot of chat and haven't delivered, and I fall for it every year, and I'm getting wary of it now. I'm like, am I just falling for it again? But everything I read, like, what the biggest thing for me is like how are other people responding, and there's some content creators that are usually quite harsh on EA that are being very, very positive about what they're seeing and how they're feeling, and that in turn gives me confidence that the way I feel about this is also correct. So I am genuinely counting down the days at this point when I can get my hands on the game, because I'm really excited to play it.
Yeah, I'm right there. Right there with you.
And so with that, yeah, thank you guys for watching the podcast and listening wherever you're at. And you can find us. Is it on the site as well, Rich? Matt, sorry. Is it on FUTBIN's site?
There will be an article, with all links to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, so wherever you choose to listen. And
if you have got a nice comment to put in the comment section, please do. And if you've got something bad to say about Arsenal, please don't. And we will see you next week.